A gray, overcast sky looms over a quiet town. Dr. Eliza Rowe, determined, steps out of her SUV. She checks a yellowed map titled Abandoned Asylums of the Midwest. Her destination, Ashgrove Psychiatric Hospital. She meets Jacob Kane, 30s, a skeptical documentary filmmaker adjusting his camera. You ready? If there's really a ghost in there, I want an Emmy. They walk past a broken gate into the overgrown yard of Ashgrove. The building is massive, gothic, and ominous. Dust fills the air. They step carefully over broken tiles. Faint whispers echo. Urban explorers say no one lasted a night here. That's why I brought you, to capture what others couldn't. Suddenly, a door creaks open by itself. A cold gust blows. I don't like this. They enter. Eliza and Jacob set up equipment. EMF meters spike. A child's laughter echoes faintly. Please tell me that was you. They follow the sound down a corridor. At the end, a young girl, Nina 10, sits in a chair. Are you real? I never left. Can you help me find my name? Jacob approaches, but Nina vanishes. They dig through files. Jacob finds an old folder. Nina Caldwell, patient 106. She was admitted for sleepwalking and vanished in 1973. Suddenly, a file bursts into flames in Jacob's hand. He drops it, screaming. What the hell was that? She doesn't want us to see something. Eliza visits Father Morgan. You were the chaplain at Ashgrove. I did more than pray. I performed exorcisms there, many. One went wrong. Back at the hospital, they discover a hidden chapel underground. Symbols are carved into the walls. What is this place? They called him the Warden. He wasn't a man. He fed off despair. A crucifix falls off the wall. The temperature drops. A dark shadow forms in the doorway. Run! Eliza and Jacob are lost. Hallways keep shifting. They hear voices from their past, taunting, accusing. Jacob, these are my memories. How? They see visions of past patients screaming, clawing at walls. Eliza, it's feeding on us, our guilt, our trauma. Suddenly, Nina appears again. You have to close the ward. Burn it. They find a ledger, hundreds of patient names crossed out in blood. They were never discharged. They were consumed. Jacob begins to hallucinate, his dead sister blaming him. He screams, runs off. Eliza drags Jacob back to the underground chapel. Father Morgan arrives with gasoline and sacred oil. Father Morgan, once the seal is broken, it must be destroyed. They begin chanting. The warden appears in full, a hulking black figure with no face, only mouths whispering. The warden, you belong here now. Nina reappears, touches Eliza's hand. Nina, remember your strength. Eliza lights the match. Fire erupts. The walls echo. The building begins to collapse. Eliza and Jacob crawl out, bloodied, coughing. The hospital burns behind them. It's over. A distant child's laughter echoes one last time. 2 weeks have passed. Jacob edits the final cut of their documentary. But as he plays a clip from Ashgrove, the screen glitches. A symbol flashes, a circle with 3 slashes. That symbol again. Suddenly he hears whispers in his hallway. He opens the door. Nothing. Eliza meets a patient. Lila, a young girl with insomnia and violent dreams. Lila, the man in the hat? He watches me from the wall. He says I'm next. Eliza gasps. The warden had worn a similar hat in Ashgrove records. Lila draws the same symbol Jacob saw. Jacob and Eliza dig through Old Town files. They find a secret. Ashgrove wasn't the only asylum with warden ties. 3 sites, forming a triangle, used the same experimental therapies. Eliza, if Ashgrove was the heart, these were the lungs and mind. They realize Lila's home sits on one of the sites. Eliza and Jacob investigate. Lila's room is freezing. Toys are positioned toward a corner. They set up a thermal camera. Suddenly, the screen shows a heat figure crouched, then crawling toward Eliza. Jacob, move. A gust of icy wind bursts from the wall. Behind it, a hidden chamber. They descend into an old chamber. Walls scratched with names, candle wax everywhere. The circle and slash symbol repeated dozens of times. These were binding wards. This room was a prison. They find an ancient book titled The Shrine of Silence, a ritual manual. The warden, you broke the seal. You called me again. The walls bleed black tar. Jacob begins to seize. Jacob survives. Barely. Mark is now burned on his chest. Eliza, this isn't over. It's spreading. Eliza pours through the ancient ritual book, The Shrine of Silence. Pages speak of 3 seals. If broken, they release a gatekeeper to the corridor of shadows. Eliza, we broke the first at Ashgrove, the second at the hospice, the third is still dormant. Jacob, Weak and hallucinating from the warden's mark, whispers, "It's calling me there, to the Hollow Creek Sanatorium," an abandoned facility hidden deep in the forest. Crows circle above. Fog clings low to the earth. Inside, they find records of children sacrificed during sleep therapy experiments. One file stands out. Patient 0, Eleanor Ward. Ward, Eleanor Ward. She's the namesake, and maybe the origin. Suddenly, lights flicker. An eerie lullaby plays. "She's here." The spirit of Eleanor appears, levitating. She whispers out, "I didn't die, I became him." Her form shifts into the warden's silhouette. They discover a sealed steel door marked Corridor X. A ritual circle is carved into the floor. "If we enter, we may not come back." Jacob nods. His health fades, but his resolve sharpens. They open the door, a dreamlike void. Countless doors, each leads to a memory, a death, or a fear. These are other lives. Eliza enters a door showing her mother's suicide, the trauma that made her a psychologist. Jacob sees his sister drowning, his guilt materialized. A voice taunts them. "The warden, every fear is a thread, and I am the weaver." They find the final seal, pulsing with light and blood. But as Eliza reaches for it, Jacob collapses, convulsing violently. Jacob is dying. The warden's mark spreads across his body. "You have to seal it, even if I don't come back." Eliza begins the ritual from the Shrine of Silence.